Welcome to Something to Talk About. Welcome to Something to Talk About.
That's right. You heard her. Welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco, and I got my Song of Ice and Fire character video going on today for my Saturday morning. My Saturday morning cartoon, if you will. It's not a cartoon. What's going on here? Pause this if you've never been here. Go ahead and read it. But yeah, I like to yell nerdy stuff with no editing and just go. So yeah, let's just go. Braxton Beesbury. That'll be the only time I say Beesbury like that. It's so difficult not to go Beesbury. All right, I did it twice. I'll do it more times. But anyways, Stinger and Seara Targaryen's favorite. I got a little burp there. So, yeah, so this is going to be kind of like mostly the entire Seara Targaryen plot, but not like what happens to her after the plot. So, read Fire and Blood. So this is all from Fire and Blood during the reign of Jaehaerys I. And yeah, this isn't all of Seara Targaryen's story because, of course, she keeps going and has a story after this. But this is just Braxton Beesbury. I said it normal that time, so you don't know where I'm going now. This is just his involvement in it. So Stinger. Braxton Beesbury, known as Stinger, was a knight from House Beesbury and the heir to the Honey Holt. During the reign of King Jaehaerys I Targaryen, Braxton was handsome and arrogant and considered one of the finest young lance in the Reach. He was also skilled with swords. So yeah, he's a good old knight. People liked him a lot. He's just a really good fighter, one of the most skilled of his time. All right, so House Beesbury. All right, that was my last time. House Beesbury of Honeyholt is a minor noble house from the Reach, sworn to the High Towers. Honeyholt is located next to the Honeywine River, which flows towards Old Town and the Whispering Sound. The Beesburys descend from the First Men. They claim to be founded by Ellen Eversweet, a daughter of the legendary Garth the Green Hand. Their arms are 3 yellow beehives on black pale over a parley black and yellow field. I know what all those words mean. Their words do not appear in the books, but according to semi-canon sources, it's beware our sting. Stinger. I'm a bee. What's up? I'm bee guy. I float like a bee fly and sting like a bee. That's also their words. It's their other motto. Sarah's favorites. So, like I said, this is during the reign of King Jaehaerys I. And yeah, so who's Sarah? It was rumored Braxton had fathered 2 bastards before he turned 19. He's 19 throughout everything I'm covering here. One in the Reach and one in King's Landing down at the Street of Silk. So a sex worker in King's Landing is one of the moms, and we don't know who the mom in the Reach is. So he's got 2 bastard bees already. Braxton became close to Princess Seara Targaryen, the 9th born child and 5th born daughter of King Jaehaerys I and Queen Alysanne Targaryen. Sarah was a courageous and clever girl in her own way, as clever as her brother Vagon. She was just as strong, quick, and spirited as her sister Alyssa. Yeah, everyone knows Alyssa Snow, right? Oh my God. Sarah was tempestuous. I put these words in here. Demanding and disobedient. I just can't say that word right now. All right. Whatever. Her first word was no, which she said often and loudly. No! Along with Braxton was Elise Turnberry, Perianne Moore, Jonah Mouton, and Red Roy Connington. So those are the 6 people. The 6 became inseparable for more than a year. At every feast and ball, they hunted and hawked together and once sailed across the Blackwater Bay to Dragonstone. So that's the picture here, right? Is the six-headed monster, if you will, right? So I think that Stinger there in the middle, the redhead sitting down there must be Red Roy Connington. the other dude that might be Stinger, or maybe that's Jonah Mooten with Perianne and kissing Seara Targaryen on the cheek over there must be Alice Turnberry. I'm assuming that's who they all are. Maybe. So yeah, six-headed monster. So what happens next? Well, you're friends with a scheming princess, and stuff happens. A drunken night in 84 AC. That's when all this is going to take place. 84 AC. Roy, Jonah, and Braxton, so the three boys, were found drunk at the Blue Pearl, a brothel in King's Landing. Also the same place he has a kid at. So that's something. With Tom Turnip, who was a fool at court. So Seara Targaryen often played cruel pranks on Tom, such as once telling him it would amuse the court if he performed naked at a great feast. But his actions were poorly received. I left out a couple other things too, but yeah, she was a jerk to good old Tom Turnip. The three knights laughed as Tom Turnip was dancing, surrounded by sex workers at the Blue Pearl, trying to escape. So he was surrounded, trying to get out of there. When asked by men of the city watch, Roy admitted that they thought it would be funny to see the fool do the deed. Right? So Jonah laughed and said it was Princess Sarah's idea. So the guards kind of overheard him saying that. They were escorted then to the queen as Stinger threatened them, and Red Roy tried to bribe the guards. Now they're a little sobered. The three knights refused to talk. The old king sent them to the dungeons. So yeah. So what are we talking about now? These three knights go to a brothel. They play a jape to the fool, and the fool was uncomfortable and everything. And then they kind of say it's Sarah's idea, which they shouldn't have said out loud. They later deny that they said that, and then they get brought up to the king. So now the king send them to the dungeons, and he's like, all right, we got to figure things out. So Queen Alysanne wanted to question the girls herself. So they questioned the guys on the king's at the throne, and Queen's like, I'll go talk to the girls. I run a lot of women's courts. I'm really good at talking to ladies. I'll just go take care of it. We'll completely disarm them, right? So they don't get threatened by the king on his throne, right? Like, that's the main thing, because if the king calls you into the courtroom, you're already threatened. If it's just good Queen Alysanne going and talking to you, maybe you're a little disarmed. When Perianne and Alice were questioned, so just those two, more than expected was revealed. Pretty Perry said it was just a game at the start. Sarah was teaching Alice how to kiss, so I asked if she could teach me too. So the confession goes on. I'm not going to say the whole thing she says here. The confession goes on until it is revealed that Sarah had coerced them into sexual acts with her male favorites, and Alice was pregnant out of wedlock. Whoa. Perry said it was Stringer that did the training for all of them. I think it's implied that they all of them kind of slept together, but Stinger did most of it, is what I don't think this is implied that he did all of the quote training, right? He trained them, I guess, and then they slept with each other after that. They sent away their servants and septas, because then Alysanne's like, wait, where were your septas and servants during all this? And they said, well, we just sent them away. And Stinger threatened to have all their tongues out if they talked. So I left that in because Stinger's like, I'm gonna cut your tongue out if you tell anyone that we're doing stuff in here. Get out. So it's this thing like, oh, what about the people that we have to protect you and to stop you? And they're like, yeah, those people work for us. We just tell them to leave. Royalty, am I right? Okay, so where was I? So it turns out they knew actually nothing about the Blue Pearl or Tom Turnip, right? When questioned the king and queen, Sarah, so now they know scandalous stuff's going on, right? Like, they're all sleeping together out of wedlock. Queen's mad, tells the king, king's mad. So now they're going to talk to Sarah on the throne. right? So this time you do kind of want her to be a little scared. Queen Alicent doesn't go alone. Now she answers to her king on the throne. All right. So where was I? When questioned by king and queen, Seara started off joking about Tom Turnip, but once she realized her parents knew about Alice being pregnant, Seara began to speak, and within a span of an hour, this is a quote, went from denial to dismissal to quibbing to contrition to God, I wish I could read. Accusation to justification to defiance, according to Septim Barth. Yeah, Septim Barth, that's a better vocabulary than I do. When Seara finally fell silent, Jaehaerys asked her whether she had given her maidenhead to these three men. Seara proclaimed that they all, where was I? Believe that they had been her first, saying that boys are such silly fools. Yeah. So he's like, did you sleep with one of them? Did he give your maidenhead up? She's like, I gave it to all three. None of them know which one it is. And she's like, silly fools. And then he's like, yo, what? So, yeah. I'm not going to shame Seara here, okay? She is in a society where women can't just be, sleep with who they want to sleep with. I think I'm a very sex positive thing. I think the only reason why you should have sex is because you enjoy it. And if you enjoy it with, if you want to be promiscuous, cool. I got nothing against that. Okay. So I'm not trying to shame her. Jaehaerys and I are very different people. And he's like your maidenhead is mine to trade to lords with, right? Because that's the awful society they live in. So I want everyone to know I'm not on Jaehaerys' side here. I do think the next thing she says has how do you not know that's gonna get Jaehaerys mad, right? And then, but I just want everyone to know that I'm I wouldn't be that dad if I was like, well, maybe you should be wearing protection, which doesn't exist yet, I don't think. Do they got sheepskin? All right. As long as you're happy. All right. Where was I? So I just had to give that little disclaimer. So she proposed the solution of redemption by marrying all three of her favorites. She said, like King Maegor did with his 6 wives, provoking Maegor's name to Jaehaerys drove him into rage. You don't do that. Okay, Maegor killed all of Jaehaerys' family, right? Tortured his sister and his mom and all this, tortured one of his brothers to death, killed the other one on Dragonback. You don't say, hey, like good old Uncle Maegor. What are you thinking, girl? You don't do that. So he's like, did you just provoke his name in my court? Go away. So yeah, probably not the smartest. Not the smartest Supreme Court president to bring up. So, punishment. According to Septim Barth, Jaehaerys might have been willing to forgive Seara had she done as she had been told. Instead, Seara escaped her confinement that night and attempted to enter the dragon pit, only to be caught by the dragon keepers. So then now for punishment, a hasty marriage was arranged for Perianne, as she called her Pretty Perry, and Jonah Mooten, with the king telling him that he could play a part of her redemption as he played a part in her ruin. So it turns out Pretty Perry and Jonah Mooten's marriage, really good. They say it was a very successful marriage. She became lady of Maidenpool and everything, and no one was the wiser. It was a good marriage. The next one didn't go that way. Okay. Where am I now? So a hasty marriage was arranged for Alice, who was pregnant, but Roy Connington refused her hand, claiming that she was pregnant with Stinger's child. Alice was sent to the mother house of Maris in Gulltown, where she gave birth to a girl with bright red hair like Lord Roy. So it might have been his kid anyways. Like, so he's like, no way, that's Stinger's kid. It might be Stinger's kid. Maybe there's some recessive gingerness, but it came out ginger. So it's most likely a Connington. The House of Gingerness. All right, where was I? Afterwards, she was wed to Lord Dustin Pryor of the Pebble. I love the Pebble. The Pebble and the Paps. King Jaehaerys gave Roy a choice of his punishment, either joining the Night's Watch or 10 years in exile. Roy chose exile. I believe he dies in exile, actually. Never comes back. The harshest punishment was served for Lord Braxton, Sir Braxton, not Lord, heir to the Honey Holt. So, yeah, the character we're talking about, right? So, the worst punishment was reserved for Sir Braxton since he was the guiltiest of the three. Seated on the Iron Throne, Jaehaerys condemned Braxton to have his tongue and nose removed. The king ordered the knight to be gelded and his legs and arms broken and held in a way to ensure Braxton was a cripple for the rest of his life. Bro, you're a little rough. Jaehaerys, however, then allowed Braxton to invoke the trial of combat. I'm going to read the next sentence before I move on. While Stinger expected to face a Kingsguard, the king chose to fight the knight himself. So, this is how that scene goes down. I want to give just a little more detail. So he goes, oh, we can give you the worst punishment ever. Or, since you're the greatest knight, he like literally kind of like feeds his ego. Since you're such a good young knight, maybe there's another way. And he goes, yeah, that. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I'll do the trial of combat, please. So he gets goaded into doing a trial by combat. I don't think the king ever wanted to do that, cut your nose and your tongue and your off and break all your limbs. I think he just is like, let's come up with the worst possible thing so he can say trial by combat. I really do think Jaehaerys is really smart, and I know that he's going to go, I want him to be in a trial by combat, but I can't just be like, kill you, because I might like get the Beesburys or the Reach mad, so I want him to pick trial by combat. So let's make it way worse. We're going to chop everything off and break everything else. Okay, can I fight? Yeah, you can fight. So why did he goad him? Because Jaehaerys wanted to do it himself. He wanted to kill this guy. And, healthy or unhealthy, I think it's a little much. Oh, you slept with my daughter? I'm going to murder you. Like, that's a little much, right? So, yeah, out of wedlock, yes, sexist society, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the way the scene happens, I'm not on Jerry's side, that's all I'm saying. The way the scene happens, he's like, which one of these old men in the Kingsguard is going to fight me then? And Jaehaerys goes, this old man. Jaehaerys is 49 at this time. So, as you guess from the picture, it goes well. I believe this is actually him killing a Baratheon. This is a younger Jaehaerys, but I really like this picture from Douglas Wheatley. So, while Stinger expected to face a Kingsguard, the king chose to fight the knight himself, a king's wrath. Did I say that? The 19-year-old Braxton faced the 49-year-old king the next morning. With both men equipped with shields and full armor, Jaehaerys was armed with Blackfire, while Sir Braxton chose a Morning Star, hoping the king was unaccustomed to defending himself against a weapon. The youthful Stinger hoped to overwhelm the older king, so he goes in swinging. So he just tries to just break right through Jaehaerys' defenses with his Morning Star, right? But Jaehaerys took every blow on his shield, and then when the exhausted Braxton from swinging this thing was unable to raise his arm, Jaehaerys cut him several times in weak points in his armor and really just cut him up. And then he forced him down, opened up his visor, and shoved Blackfire into the visor. And yeah, just killed him that way. Super brutal. Princess Seara was forced to watch the duel from the window by Jonquil Dark. I have a video for Jonquil Dark. So she's forced to watch this. I think Jaehaerys went way, way further than he needed to. But he's mad that this guy took his daughter's maiden, right? Maybe. Maybe did it. I mean, he's definitely mad, but we don't know which one took her maidenhead. But yeah, making her watch as you fight him is. I'm probably gonna have people disagree. Like, no, man, Braxton was in the wrong. Jaehaerys in the right. Best king. I tend to disagree. I think it's a little brutal. And like the extra on top is making Seara watch, where it's like, Jonquil, don't let her turn away. It's like, ooh. You think at this point, Jonquil Dark and like his other like Joffrey Doggett are like, don't get the king mad. Jeez. Like they've seen stuff. All right, so he did. He only made it 19 years. Let's get to the main thing. What if he won? I couldn't find any real theories about good old Stinger. Just posts about what if he actually killed King Jaehaerys in this trial. Letter opener 52 on a Reddit asks this, and if Jaehaerys lost and it yielded, if Braxton demanded the leave, like he kind of paints this whole thing of like he holds a blade to his neck and he's like, "Let me free." But a lot of people then like said like, if he won, he wouldn't have had to like demand freedom. I don't know if they would have immediately had him killed, like, but technically he didn't kill Jaehaerys. Like if he kills Jaehaerys, he didn't murder Jaehaerys. It was on a trial by combat. They would say the gods wanted the king to die. I'm assuming he would be exiled, right? Just like when Oberyn killed Lord Ironwood, he was then exiled. He wasn't killed, right? Like it's not considered murder. But I also think that he was a little more of a punishment because he used poison. So I don't know how he would be treated. So yeah, and then Fire and Ice of Song also on Reddit asked the same question. It was fun going through the answers, so go ahead, go check out these posts and let me know what you think. If you just type in like Braxton Beesbury theories, you'll find these guys pretty easy. And yeah, what do you think? Should I make a what if small council for King Aemon Targaryen? If you really want one, I will. I did a quick look like, oh, if I do a what if he died during his trial, and I'm like, I don't see Aemon really changing much of the small council. Like it's one of the few ones where we know every single member, and it's like, I would keep him, he'd keep him. Well, he is him. So I guess they would have to find a new Master of Laws. But Barth would stay hand. So it'd be kind of a boring what if. But if you want me to, let me know. We'll talk about King Aemon. All right. There you guys go. Hopefully I didn't get too preachy. I guess I'm just like not that guy who's like, you look at my daughter, kill you. That's not me. But maybe I'm just judging. Maybe I'm judging Jaehaerys too harshly. I'm sure you guys will let me know. But yeah, there's Braxton Beesbury. I love Stinger. I the first time I went through the book, I was like, whoa, this is just a crazy. Sarah's story is very much a highlight in all of Fire and Blood. I think this story. So I wanted to cover a character that covers Seara Targaryen's like this scandal without covering Seara Targaryen because there's a lot more than just this scandal. I would have to cover later on what happens with her life, and hey, maybe one day I will. She's kind of a big character, but if enough people ask, maybe I would during a Targaryen week or something. I don't really do Targaryen weeks anymore. I'm just covering them now. I am still doing Frey week, and that's coming up soon. Oh, it's coming up soon. Dang it. Dang Frey week. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Click like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. Smash that YouTube stuff. And yeah, let me know if there's any character that you want me to cover. And if he's not on the list or they're not on the list, I'll try to cover them. Thank you. And whatever you do, don't get into a trial of combat with the king. All right. Peace.